And we'll get some more insight on this issue right now. Here now is Brian Becker. He's an analyst and journalist focusing on U.S. and DPRK relations. Welcome. Peace games, as they were called, they're done. Will it give way to peace talks, in a sense? I mean, how can these be built on, I guess is the real question.
Well, there's momentum from the North and the South. And the two Koreas are trying to create momentum because they realize that Washington is, if anything, an obstacle right now. In the past, in the year 2000, when North and South Korea opened up those very hopeful talks leading to what was called the historic summit of June 15, 2000, Kim Dae-jung from the South met with Kim Jong-il, but it had the support of Washington. It had the support of Bill Clinton. Madeleine Albright, then Secretary of State, was dispatched to North Korea, and she met, too, with Kim Jong-il. Here, the problem is that Washington seems to be opposed to any peace breaking out in the Korean Peninsula if it doesn't have the sort of supervision of the United States, because ultimately what the U.S. fears is not a nuclear attack from North Korea. Nuclear attack from North Korea would be suicide for North Korea. But what Washington fears is that South Korea could start to exercise independence from Washington and start to look either to China or to the North or to all of the countries in the region to develop its own destiny, to determine its own destiny. So yes, there's a lot of hope right now because the Olympics have created this window, created an opening, but the window can close too. So we're at a magic moment, I think.
Moon Jae-in seemed to seize on all of this, and yet Washington didn't really see it as an opportunity, as you just pointed out. I mean, it wasn't a missed opportunity. Should the United States have perhaps sent the Secretary of State as one of the delegations, either at the back end or the front end?
Well, I think it certainly hurt the United States. For Mike Pence to sit there and not get up and not welcome the athletes as they come in and everybody else is applauding, it makes him look isolated. It makes the United States look isolated. What does South Korea want? What does North Korea want? What does China want? What do the people in the region want? They have a congruence of interest, which is they don't want another war. They don't want another war like the war that took place in the Korean Peninsula between 50 and 53. 4 to 5 million Koreans died. 1 million plus Chinese died. A catastrophic war like that is against the interests of the people in the region. So when you have American politicians talking glibly about, yes, maybe we'll have to give a bloody no strike to North Korea, which can only mean hundreds of thousands of people will die, people in the region must think, well, these people are speaking glibly and euphemistically about a catastrophe that we will endure.
Kim Jong-un issuing an invitation to his ROK counterpart to come for a summit. Is that likely to happen again? Moon Jae-in really does have to thread the needle, doesn't he, when it comes to the United States and the region? How do you thread that needle?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that South Korea has such limited sovereignty. I mean, just think of it. Why shouldn't Koreans be able to speak to Koreans? Why do they have to be looking over their shoulder to see whether a power 7,000 miles away approves or disapproves? But nonetheless, because the U.S. has tens of thousands of troops in southern Korea, because it has a tight alliance with the South Korean military, because of the relationship with Japan, South Korea must do just that. Can Moon Jae-in do it? Yes. In 2007, the South Korean president went to the north. George W. Bush wasn't that happy about it, but they did it anyway. Here, the stakes are higher, though, because we are really at the precipice. If there's not peace, there's going to be something else. And as President Trump said the other day, if sanctions don't work, we'll go to phase 2. What can phase 2 mean other than military action? Again, an action that would be catastrophic.
In the closing ceremonies last night, the president of the IOC talked about the cooperation on the peninsula. This is what he said: with your joint march, you have shared your faith in a peaceful future for all of us. Sports brings people together in a very fragile world. Sports has brought everyone together, but can diplomats bring that a step forward?
It completely depends on will and desire. Look at what happened in China. The United States and China were, existential enemies. The United States said red China must never gain nuclear weapons, and yet the politicians met after ping-pong diplomacy, sports diplomacy, and a new day opened up, a really new day. Is that possible with North Korea? Yes. Would North Korea reciprocate? Yes. What North Korea wants is a guarantee of its security, end of story. And if they can get that, and they can only get it from Washington, I think there can be huge progress in the Korean Peninsula.
Of course, I guess at some point the U.S. has to have an ambassador in the ROK. That would be a step forward, too.
True enough.
Brian Becker, thanks so much.
Thank you.